Okay, YouTube, Terry Carter here. I want to tell you about an expedition I'm going to be taking here in the next few days, and I want to tell you why I'm going to be taking this. About 10 years ago, I ran into a guy that I went to high school with, and we got talking, asking each other what we was doing. I told him I'd been doing some research on these strange hieroglyphs that I'd been finding scattered across the western United States in remote, out-of-the-way locations, and he was pretty interested in that. And when I got finished telling him about those, he started telling me about a strange set of hieroglyphs or symbols that him and his family found while they was out at Lake Powell. He says what they did was they was in a houseboat and they just parked the houseboat and camped for the night, and then in the morning they got up and took a hike and was wandering around. They come across these strange hieroglyphs on a big boulder, and it was pretty cool. They didn't know what it meant or anything, so they just took their family photo in front of it. Anyways, he's telling me about them and trying to describe them, and asked if I knew of anything strange down at the Lake Powell area, and I really didn't. So he told me he'd try and dig up that old family photo and let me see it. Well, he finally dug it up, a few weeks later, and I looked at it, and it looks like 12th dynasty Egyptian to me. As soon as he showed me that, my mind immediately raced to the Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, because the Grand Canyon is down the Colorado River, and Lake Powell is made from the Colorado River. So naturally, I wonder if this has anything to do with the Egyptians in the Grand Canyon. So that's why I'm heading on a trip to Lake Powell. He told me where these things are at. I'm trying to find it. So I made a trip down there already, and we scoured an area. We searched an area where he told us a general area, but it had been so long since he'd been there, he knows vaguely, but not exactly. So we searched an area. We come up empty-handed. We did find some cool things, some prayer circles, Indian petroglyphs, things like that, but we didn't find these Egyptian hieroglyphs. So anyways, we was getting to get out on the water again, and I went to start my boat, and it wasn't starting, so I took the motor cover off and put some ether in it and started it up, and then it died, so I put more ether in it and started it up, and I looked back there and my whole boat was on fire. Well, luckily, just before I went down there, somebody was telling me that a friend of theirs went down to Lake Powell and didn't have a fire extinguisher on their boat, and so they got a ticket. So luckily, I had a fire extinguisher in my boat, and I had it right there. So I grabbed it and had that fire put out in nothing flat. Needless to say, that was the end of my adventures for that year. So I worked on the boat. Come to find out, the fill holes from the gas nozzle down into the gas tank where you fill the gas in was so old that it wasn't cracked or anything, but the gas was just kind of oozing out of it, and I'd filled it up all the way into that rubber fill hose, and it oozed out down into the bottom compartment where the motor sits, and one of my spark plug wires had fallen out and was laying down in there in the bottom, so when I cranked it over, it sparked and caught the whole thing on fire. Well, I got it all fixed now. We're headed down to Lake Powell this weekend, and if we find these Egyptian hieroglyphs, we'll keep you posted. Who knows if this has to do with anything with the Egyptian in the Grand Canyon? Who knows if this was written by an Egyptologist who went there camping with his family and took the time and wrote this and says, me and my family came here and had a great time. Although we did talk to an Egyptologist about it a little bit, and he says the writing looks correct for the old time period, and somebody definitely had to know what they was doing to put these there. So we'll keep you posted.